Good day, class. This is Ma'am Renz again, and now we are on third quarter chemistry. For Module 3, the title is Changes in Matter. Again, this is the format on how you're going to write it on your answer sheet. Follow the pattern from pre-test to post-test. For our most essential learning competencies, we have to explain physical changes in terms of the arrangement and motion of atoms and molecules. For the objectives, we have the following. 1. Differentiate physical from chemical change in matter. 2. Enumerate and discuss the different physical phase changes in matter, such as evaporation, condensation, melting, freezing, sublimation, and deposition. 3. Illustrate how phase changes in matter are affected by change in temperature at molecular level. Let us answer first the pre-test before we proceed to our discussion. Let me read to you number 1. Which of the following is not an example of a physical change? A. Burning of matchsticks. B. Crumpling of newspaper. C. Cutting of dough into smaller pieces. D. Melting of butter. Number 2. When a person carrying a bottled water enters a warm room after being outside on a cold day, the bottled water fog up because of A. Condensation, B. Sublimation, C. Melting, and D. Vaporization. Number 3. Which of the following process shows a change from liquid to solid? A. Condensation, B. Evaporation, C. Freezing, D. Melting. 4. Which of the following conditions would cause solid to become liquid? A. Increase of temperature, B. Decrease of temperature, C. Maintain the temperature, D. None of the choices. 5. Which of the following occurs when there is no new substance formed, only the shape and appearance of the substance changes? A. Burning, B. Chemical change, C. Formation of rust, D. Physical change. If you are done answering, let's check. For number 1, correct answer is B. I'm sorry. The correct answer is letter A. Okay, not an example of physical change. It's A. Burning of matchsticks. Number 2. Correct answer is D. Vaporization. 3. Letter C. It's freezing. 4. It's letter A. Increase of temperature. And number 5 is letter D. Physical change. Then you have to answer looking back. Just follow the instruction. This is matching type. Match column A to column B. We already discussed it on the previous video lesson that we have. You may watch it again for a refresh. And then again, we have here the definition of chemical change. It occurs when matter changes its composition, which may result to the formation of a new substance. When a chemical change occurs, we can no longer determine the original property of a substance since the resulting new substance will have its own unique properties. Example, when you burn matches, yung posporo, they will turn black and become ashes. So, hindi na siya matchstick, kundi isa na siyang ash. So, formation of new substance, di ba? So, chemical change yon kasi may reaction nung kinis-kis mo yung matchstick dun sa side niya, nagkaroon ng friction, then production of light, production of heat, then may gas din, evolution of gas, nangamoy. So, yun yung mga evidences, no, na may chemical change happen. Now, the change that occurred is irreversible. Hindi na siya naibabalik pa. Okay? Mula dun sa kanyang original appearance and composition. So, yung ashes hindi na maibabalik sa pagiging matchstick. And then, we already discussed this last time that we have commonly existing matter. We have solid, liquid, and gas, but there are more, no? May plasma pa and Bose-Einstein condensate. So, depende yan sa pag-add ng heat and pag-remove ng heat. But, ito yung tatlong common na inaaral natin. So, when energy is added or released, matter can change phase. So, phase changes. This refers to a change from one state of matter to another state. So, from solid to liquid, liquid to solid, solid to gas, gas to liquid, liquid to solid, gas to solid. Ayan, yung mga different transition of states of matter. An example of this, yung phase change, is when liquid changes to solid. So, nagiging siya, freezing kasi tumitigas. Or, a solid change to gas. So, ang process naman na to ay tinatawag nating sublimation. There are two types of changes in matter. We discussed it last time, physical and chemical change. So, physical change occurs when a matter changes in state or appearance without changing its original composition. Example, if you shape a piece of dough into a round bread or square or cutting it into smaller pieces, the composition of the dough remains the same. Still, donut pa din. And then, if you dissolve sugar in water, it's still a sugar solution. There's still sugar there. Sugar will no longer visible to our eyes, but its property of being sweet is still present on the solution. That's why it's called sugar solution. And since this is a type of mixture, a homogeneous mixture, still we can separate it physically. Okay? No need for chemical separation for this kasi physical lang naman yung nabago. Some physical changes are reversible o nababaliktad or baliktaran like melting wax. Just let it cool, then it will solidify again. Wax has only changed its state but its composition remains the same. So, wax pa din siya. Physical change in a substance does not change what the substance is. A physical change is when matter changes forms but not the chemical identity. So, yung yellow na natunaw, binalik mo sa freezer, yellow pa din. A physical change is only a change on the appearance of a substance but not its chemical composition. Under the physical change, we have phase changes. So, nagbabago yung state of matter, pero physically lang. Phase changes are physical changes that takes place when matter changes energy states, but chemical bonds are not broken or formed. So, physical pa rin siya, yung phase change. Phase change is a change from one state to another without a change in chemical composition. Phase changes happen as the temperature changes. So, pag nagdagdag ng heat, magbabago. Pag nagbawas ng heat, magbabago. Phase change lang yon. Physical change pa rin. All matter can move from one state to another. These are the following examples of physical changes. Crushing can, physical change yan. Okay? Kasi can pa din yan. Melting an ice cube, physical change yan. Kasi tubig pa rin naman yan. But this is reversible, kaya phase change siya. So, this is from solid state turns into liquid state, kaya phase change. So, since yung yellow ay tubig pa rin pag natunaw at ibalik mo sa freezer, yellow pa rin, tubig pa din, o di physical change yun, but this is phase change. Just like the boiling water, tubig pa din yan, pinakuluan nga lang. Okay? Maibabalik mo pa rin siya sa pagiging tubig o takpan mo yung ilalim ng takip, may mahahawakan ka dong tubig-tubig. So, tubig pa din, no? Physical change under phase change kasi this is liquid turns to gas, yung boiling water. Mixing sand with water, physical change, pero hindi phase change, no? Breaking glass, phase change siya? Hindi. Kasi, ano yan? Physical change lang. Wala naman transition ng state of matter, no? Glass pa din siya, solid to solid pa rin. Dissolving sugar in water, physical change, pero hindi phase change. Shredding paper, physical, but not phase change. Chopping of wood, still physical change. Mixing of green and red marbles, marbles pa din. So, physical change lang yan. Eto, phase change naman to. Physical change pa rin to, sublimation of dry ice kasi dry ice pa din yun, nag-sublime lang. Pero dahil nag-sublime siya, solid state to turns into gas state, so phase change siya. Okay? All phase changes are still under physical changes. So, correct. Lahat yan ng may check. Flashing on your screen. All are physical changes. Okay? Tatlo lang dyan yung physical change na phase change pa. Yun yung melting an ice cube, boiling of water, sublimation of dry ice. And then, ayan, magbigay tayo ng example. Kayo sasagot. Breaking glass. Ano yan? Physical, correct. Freezing a popsicle. Physical. And at the same time, phase change din. Kasi magbago siya mula sa liquid naging solid kasi nag-freeze. So, physical na phase change pa. How about spoiling milk? Napanis, no? So, chemical yan. Mowing the grass, ano yan? Physical, kasi tinabas mo lang yung grass. Slicing bread, pinutol-putol mo, bread pa din, physical. Roasting marshmallow, so binurn mo yung mallow, so chemical. Breaking an egg, egg pa rin naman, physical. Exploding fireworks, chemical yan. Mixing Kool-Aid packets with water, yung mga powder juice, physical. Squeezing an orange for juice, physical. Evaporating water, physical, at the same time under phase change kasi nagbago yung state niya from liquid state turns to gas state. Burning toast sa mga bread, so niluto siya, chemical. Burning wood, chemical. Popping popcorn, ano naman yan? Physical pa rin kasi yung liquid doon sa corn, no? Pag na-steam siya, magkakaroon ng pressure inside, kaya magpapop. So, physical change. Bleaching, hair, chemical, melting chocolate, phase change ulit. Physical change under phase change. Kasi from solid to liquid, okay, nag-melt yung chocolate. So, lahat ng may check, kikita nyo sa screen, are all under physical changes. Some are physical change na under pa ng phase changes. Yung hindi naka-check, chemical changes. Boiling milk, roasting mallows, exploding fireworks, burning toast, burning wood, bleaching or coloring of hair, ano yan, mga yan. Chemical changes. So, when we say chemical changes, results from a chemical reaction. Chemical changes cause a substance to change into an entirely substance with a new chemical formula. So, magbabago na kasi siya yung identity niya. Chemical changes are also known as chemical reactions. The ingredients of a reaction are called reactants. Kaya nga reaction kasi may nagre-react, reactants yun. And the end results are called products. Yun yung bagong substance na nabuo. Examples of chemical changes are burning, cooking, rusting, rotting, spoilage, yan, mga yan, and etc. Ayan. So, nakita na natin to kanina, no? Yung mga may check, yun lang ang physical change, na yung iba may phase changes, and the rest na walang check, ayan, naka-appear na chemical change siya. Okay? Kasi nagbago siya entirely, pati chemical composition. And these one are all chemical changes. Iron rusting, burning wood, no? Iron rusting, ano yan, may formation of solid precipitate, latak-latak. So, evidence yun ng chemical change. Burning food, magtuturn sa ashes, no? Metabolism, para ma-digest yung ating kinakain. So, nagbago siya para magamit as energy ng katawan. Cooking is an example of chemical change. Baking also. Electroplating. Rotting banana, so nabulok. And then, mixing of vinegar and baking soda. So, may ano yan, formation of bubbles and gas. May makita ka dyan na nag-react. Then, fireworks, no? And also, chemical batteries. So, obviously, yung batteries, may chemicals sa loob, is either carbon or lead or other chemicals pa na ginagamit for battery. Magko-convert siya ng energy. So, all of these pictures are under chemical changes. So, dito naman, meron tayong types of chemical reaction. Sabi natin kanina, may reactants and products. So, lahat na nasa left side, kaliwa, are all reactants. And then, magbabago na siya sa right side, sa kanan, bagong identity na yan. These are all products. So, walang naulit dyan. So, may types tayo, no, ng chemical reaction. Synthesis, pinag-combine. So, A and B, magiging AB. So, ibang substance yun. Decomposition, naghiwalay. Si AB magpo-form into new product, A and B. Single replacement, may pinalitan lang. Si AB, kinumbine kay C, magiging bagong product na niya, AC and B. So, magkaibang identity na talaga. And then, double replacement, double din yung switching. AB combines with CD, forming AC and BD. O, di ba walang nagkaparehas? Chemical reaction. Reactants, reacting with each other, forming new substances called products. Now, for the key concept, please do remember that when a physical change occurs, there is no breaking and forming of bonds. There are certain things that will help us identify if a chemical reaction has taken place. And we call these evidences of chemical reactions. Now, what are these? One, production of light. So, yung matchstick, pag kiniskis mo, iilaw. Evidence yun ng chemical reaction. Evolution of gas. Ayan, pag nagsunog tayo, no, may gas tayong nakikita and amoy. Also, when mixing chemicals, no, may formation or evolution of gas and then may amoy. Next is temperature change. O marami nalilito dito kasi may temperature change din sa physical, no? Yung temperature change sa physical change, enough lang yun para magkaroon ng changes sa state of matter. Example, yung butter, dinagdagan mo ng init, so magme-melt. Ayun, hanggang dun lang siya. Basta physical lang yung nagbago, wala naman chemical change, at yun pa rin yung substance na yun. Yung temperature change na tinutukoy doon ay physical change. Pero dito kasi sa chemical reaction, yung temperature change na sinasabi, ano yan, halimbawa yung gatas, napanisan, 24 hours mo din napainom sa baby, tapos ano na siya, iba na, no? Sasaktan na lang siya yung baby. So, napanis na. So, temperature change. Dahil sa temperature change, no, exposing sa init, no, hindi mo nilagay sa freezer or sa tamang temperature na kung saan hindi siya mapapanis. Ayun, chemical reaction yung naganap doon. And then, yun, pag nagbago yung intrinsic properties such as color, odor, halimbawa, yun, balik tayo sa milk, nag-iba na yung kulay, expired na pala, o diba? Tas iba na yung amoy, may ano na, namuuna, no? So, formation of precipitation, may namuuna. So, may namuunang latak-latak, nagbago yung amoy, yung kulay, no? Tapos, expose pa siya sa sobrang init, expired pa siya, o di chemical reaction yung naganap, may chemical change dun. Including yung sa mga, yung pinagpapawisan yung kilikili natin, may amoy, so may bacteria dun, no? Chemical reactions. O, balikan natin to, yung diagram na to. Diniscuss natin to last video lesson, but let's discuss again further. Again, this is solid, and this one is liquid, and this is gas. By adding or removing heat, nagbabago-bago siya, no? And magiging siya, transition phase or phase changes. So the red one, that means adding of heat. Pag nag-add tayo ng heat, meaning nag-a-absorb yun ng heat. Okay, si solid, nagdagdag ka ng init, inabsorb ni solid, bumilis ang paggalaw, so may kinetic energy na mas bumilis ang paggalaw, naging liquid siya. Okay, moving faster ang atoms, higher kinetic energy. So, solid turns to liquid in a process called melting. Ano example niyan? Butter, nag-melt. Ice cream sa kamay mo, nag-melt. Yellow, nag-melt. Yun pa rin siya. Diba? Nagbago lang, solid state to liquid state. Next, add more heat. So, nag-absorb si liquid na mas marami pang heat. Bumilis ang galaw. Mas tumaas ang kinetic energy. Kaya lalo siyang naging far apart. So, liquid state turns into gas state in a process called evaporation or vaporization. Okay? Ano example niyan? Yung damit mo, nabasa, nilabang mo, sinampay mo, sobrang init, within 30 minutes natuyo. Yung liquid doon, nag-turn into gas, so nag-evaporate siya. Diba? Yung mga dam, Lamesa Dam, kunwari, Ipo Dam, ganyan, natuyuan, naging critical level. Kasi nga, yung liquid nag-turns into gas kasi nag-evaporate na mabilis due to adding of more temperature. Next. Ayan. If you add or absorb heat, the atoms move faster. Kinetic energy is higher. Yan ang pinapakita natin sa illustration. Ito naman kabaliktaran. Yung blue means nag-cool down or nagbawas. Nag-release ka ng heat. So, yung gas, sobrang taas ang kinetic energy, bawasan mo o babagal ang movement ng particles. Magdidikit-dikit ng kaunti, magiging liquid. So, gas state turns into liquid state in a process called condensation. So, the reversible process of evaporation is condensation. Ano example ng condensation? O, bumili ka ng soft drinks, ang lamig, di ba? Pagdating mo sa bahay, yung bote, may nahawakan ka ng mga liquid-liquid sa labas. Okay? Nag-condensate. Yung rice cooker, yung takip nun, pag hinawakan mo, kakaluto lang nung rice, makikita mo may liquid sa ilalim. So, nag-condense, no? Bakit? Kasi yung water vapor doon, nung kumukulo-kulo pa siya, magto-turn siya sa gas, di ba? Sa sobrang pagkawala niya, di nagiging gas yung iba. Pero dahil may takip, bumabangga yung mga atoms doon sa takip. Dahilan para bumagal siya, no? So, instead na mag-turn siya sa gas, bumalik siya sa liquid state. So, condensation yon. Next, yung liquid, bawasan pa natin. Mag-release ka pa ng init. So, magiging malamig. Liquid, naging solid in a process called freezing. So, yun yung reversible ng melting, freezing, no? Yan yung magkabaliktaran. Melting, freezing, evaporation, condensation. So, nakikita natin mas naging lower na yung kinetic energy at mas naging slower na. So, slowest sa solid. Okay? Slowest kapag nag-release ka ng heat. So, if you if you remove or release heat, the atoms move slower. Kinetic energy is lower. Merong mga times na kung saan pag nag-add ka ng heat, hindi na dumadaan sa liquid state. Diretso siyang from solid turns into gas without the liquid state occurring. Ang tawag doon, solid turns into gas, is called sublimation. Marami nalilito dyan. Isipin nyo na lang, solid, sumablay maging gas, sumablay, sublimation. Okay, ang reversible naman niya, a process ay gas, hindi ulit naging liquid, diretso naging solid. Okay, nawala sa posisyong maging liquid, deposition. Okay, gas turns to solid diretso. Ano example ng sublimation? Yung mga albatross, yung mga pabango sa CR, 'di ba? Solid 'yon. Tapos pag binuksan mo yung plastic, nagulat ka after ilang weeks o ano na, naubos na, no? So hindi siya na liquid state, nag-sublime siya. Yung mga car freshener, mga liquid gels ng car freshener natin, makikita natin pag sobrang init, ubos agad. Hindi siya nag-turn into liquid state. Sublimation yung tawag doon. Yung sa freezer, no? Solid yun. Yellow. Pag binuksan mo yung freezer, kita mo agad yung usok. Dry ice din. Yung sa mga stage, yung mga effect. Solid yun, turns directly into gas. And then, yung deposition naman, nag-remove ka or nag-release ng heat. So, yung gas hindi naging liquid, naging solid agad, deposition. Anong example nun? O pag bagong bili mo yung ref nyo, sinaksak mo, o magkakaroon ng gas doon, tapos maya-maya mag-freeze na siya. So, meron ng mga yellow sa gilid. So, deposition yon. Ano pa? Pag winter season sa ibang bansa, yung gas malamig, bigla siyang magiging solid. No? Ganun siya kabilis kasi nag-remove siya or release ng heat. Ayun, yung mga examples niya. And then, tingnan naman natin tong chart na to. Okay? Pinapakita dito na ang phase change ay hindi nagbabago ng temperature. Magbabago lang siya once na magbabago na talaga siya ng state. Okay? But during the phase changes, wala. Temperature is still the same. Kaya siya physical change. Under siya ng physical change pa rin. So, tingnan natin. Solid. Example, yellow. Dun sa vertical axis natin, yung patayo, temperature yung pinag-uusapan. Dun sa horizontal naman natin is the energy if we add heat. Solid, yun yung yellow. Okay? Magdadagdag tayo ng energy. So, iinit siya. O nakita nyo, tumataas. Pero, habang nagme-melt siya, yung temperature niya, same pa rin. Alam mo, 0 degrees yung yellow kasi nag-freeze. Habang natutunaw siya, 0 pa din yun. Hanggang sa matunaw na siya. Okay? Pag natunaw na siya at tubig na talaga, maya-maya hindi na siya magiging malamig. Kasi yung liquid na yon, nag-absorb na ulit siya ng heat. So, yung makikita mo dito sa chart, yung liquid, ayan o, upward na, diagonally upward na siya. Tataas ulit yung temperature. Okay? Pero, habang tumataas yung temperature, so nadadagdagan yung liquid ng init, nag-absorb siya. Example, magbo-boil na siya, no? Mag-evaporate na siya. So, ulit yan? Yung temperature niyan stays the same. So, water pa din siya, no? Phase changes, flat lang yung line niya. That means it stays the same yung temperature. And then, pag nag-evaporate, ayan, nag-boiling point na, 100 degrees Celsius, ayan, doon na natin makikita na mag-a-absorb ulit siya ng heat, tataas ulit yung temperature niya, magiging gas na siya. So, doon lang siya mag-aangat ulit ng temperature. So, ano ibig sabihin ng diagram na yan? During phase changes, hindi nagbabagong temperature. At alam natin na ang physical change ay hindi nagbabagong temperature. Okay? Nagbabago lang ng state ng matter. Ganun din kapag binawasan mo ng heat o yung gas, binawasan mo ng heat, magto-turn into liquid. Phase change pa rin yun, condensation. So, habang nagko-condensate siya, under pa rin ng phase change, yung temperature niya stays the same. Okay? Pag lumamig na yung gas na mainit, ayan na, saka pa lang siya, yung magiging liquid na yung gas, saka siya babagsak yung temperature. Then, pag inilagay mo siya sa freezer, yung mainit, hindi agad yan lalamig na magsusolid, hindi. Siyempre, babagsak muna yung temperature niyan. Okay? Magko-cool down muna yan. Pag nag-cool down na siya, dun siya nagbabago yung temperature. Pero once na nag-freeze na siya, yung temperature niya stays the same ulit. Hanggang sa mabuong yelo. Pag nabuo ng yelo, saka ulit siya magda-drop ng temperature. Mag-change na yung liquid to solid. So, ganun siya. So, in short, ang phase changes, whether nag-add ka ng heat dun sa diagram or nag-cool down ka, basta phase change, ang temperature stays the same. Ayun yung ibig sabihin nun. Okay? Then, you can answer now the activities na, no? Activity 1, madali lang yan. Part 1, part 2. So, sagutan nyo lang yung part 1, lagay nyo lang kung physical or chemical change. Sa part 2 naman, may mga drawings dyan, ilagay nyo lang kung physical or chemical change. And then, sa last column, yung reason. Ayan. Okay? Then, activity 2, ayan, tulad ng diagram na pinakita ko dun sa discussion, lagay nyo lang kung freezing, melting, ganyan, evaporation, condensation, sublimation, deposition. So, kayo na yung maglalagay dun sa boxes. And then, part 2, may word bank naman. Huwag na kayo mag-iba-iba ng sagot o kumuha ng ibang words kasi nandyan na sa word bank. Activity 3, ayan, nagpakita ko kanina ng phase change diagram. So, mag-supply lang kayo ng mga correct answers. Nandyan na rin din yung sagot sa word bank sa taas. And then, part 2, ayan, may mga molecules of matter tayo dyan, naka-indicate kung gas, liquid, solid. And then, yung temperature, pag yellow, ibig sabihin, nag-add ka ng malamig. Pag apoy, ibig sabihin, nag-add ka naman ng mainit. Then, ano yun na yung bago niyang phase of matter. Tapos, anong tawag doon sa phase change na yun. Okay? And then, check your understanding. So, true or false lang yan. Tingnan nyo yung naka-underline na word kung nagpatama siya ng statement or nagpamali. And then, remember, ayan, basahin nyo ulit. Marami pa rin kayo matutunan na examples dyan ng changes of matter. Yung freezing, another term na pala ay solidification. So, do not forget that. And then, yung vaporization, evaporation yon. Okay? So, may mga examples dyan na given. You read it. Then, reflection, lagay nyo na natutunan nyo, anong importance ng phase changes, chemical changes, ano yung ma-apply nyo. Yung phase changes class, evident siya sa environment natin. Yung water cycle, di ba, paulit-ulit, evaporation, pag uminit yung araw, mag-evaporate yung bodies of water, lake, oceans, rivers, mag-evaporate, tas magko-cool down sa taas, magpo-form ng clouds, magko-condensate, so magpo-form ng water droplets, bibigat, babagsak, uulan, so babalik siya as rain. Pero sa mga malalamig na lugar, pag nagko-condensate siya, yung clouds, instead of water droplets, nag-freeze yung water droplets, nagiging snow. So, papatak siya as snow. No? So, ayun siya. And then, post-test, let me read to you. Number 1, all of the following are physical changes except A. Burning of wood, B. Chopping of corn, C. Dissolving sugar, and D. Evaporating water. Next, number 2. During a physical change, the molecules of water blank. A. Change. B. Combine to form new substance. C. Is altered completely. D. Remains the same. 3. What happens to water when it freezes? A. Water changes from a gas to liquid phase. B. Water changes from a solid to a gas phase. C. Water changes from a liquid to a solid phase. D. Water changes from an isotope to a plasma phase. Number 4. What phase change is involved when dry ice gives off carbon dioxide gas? A. Condensation. B. Freezing. C. Melting. D. Sublimation. 5. Which phase changes require an increase in heat energy? A. Condensation and vaporization. B. Freezing and condensation. C. Melting and freezing. D. Melting and vaporization, also known as evaporation. If you are true answering, let's check. Number 1, correct answer is A. Burning of wood. Yan yung except. Number 2, it's D. Remains the same. 3, correct answer is C. Water changes from a liquid to a solid phase. Number 4, it's D. Sublimation. And number 5 is also D. Melting and vaporization or evaporation. Yun yung dalawang nag-i-increase yung heat energy. So I hope you learned something. If you still have questions, do not forget to ask your teacher on your group chats per section. So, ayun lang. Thank you for learning. Have a nice day. Goodbye.